that they're not going to agree with. Um, and I think this is kind of where what happened here. I think what happened was Trevor called Sky out. He shouldn't have done it. He should have done it in private and questioned her about it in private if he had an issue with it. But he did it on radio and he got in trouble for it. And he didn't agree with it because obviously in his mind, what she did was incorrect. And so he felt like she was just basically saying, because you disagree with me, I'm going to strike you. This is all assumptions here. I'm not. He hasn't said that. So obviously he's upset about it, and I'm sure you've been in a position where someone's been striked before and they're not happy about it. So he's then gone to a call, and it happens to be a similar situation. But he's still, not happy about the strike points or anything. And the way I see it is, we're all human beings, and he's not happy that he's just got punished, and might lose his job. But he's made a call, and it's come across that he's doing it in a petty way. And then he's been, I guess, dragged back to the office,
Yeah, I think
and questioned
I'll be
about it.
paraphrasing the radio call that he made, but I remember Sky mentioning something along the lines, "We're gonna break off. We have the car, and I guess we've been on this pursuit for 7 or 8 minutes or whatever it was. So I guess we're not gonna continue or do our jobs." So
Yeah, yeah. I think it's
I agree with that to a certain point. I don't think at any point in time you should be calling anyone an idiot.
no, I agree. Yeah, I think it's I think my worry is more with Sky than it is with anybody else. That it's more about when you have a good police officer and they've been punished for something, we've got to realize that that person is. I'm not excusing anything he's done. It's more that if they've gone out their way and they've been upset about a situation and they've said something passive aggressive on the radio or what, but it hasn't affected the actual police work. Like if Drainer had done the situation and called off a chase, and he'd done it in a way, from what it sounds like the call that he made was correct. That other officers would have done the same. Um, but he just made a comment about it on the radio, which again I don't agree with. But I think for the police work side of things, he didn't do anything wrong. So what I'm worried about is whether or not Sky in that situation made the situation worse by, I guess, questioning his feelings regarding the situation instead of using it as I guess, a training opportunity to try and grow someone as a police officer instead of I guess look for, by questioning his feelings on the situation, it's inevitable it's going to get worse.
I don't think he was questioned. Okay, so it seems to be a misunderstanding on what he was questioned about, and he seems to keep going back to these feelings. It's nothing to do with the feelings. It's being passive aggressive on radio. It's not how you feel about the situation. Also, Sky was asking his articulation on why break off units because she didn't have the full context of the situation, which is why I brought him in to ask him that. And during that conversation, we then realized that was the correct call. So I was called because Sky was concerned that his attitude and his still thinking about the other situation where he was punished was going to affect his police work. That was her concern, and that's why he was brought in again to understand why he made the call that he made.
Yeah, that makes sense. Yeah. So that was the only thing he was brought in for, or was it also the comment he made on radio?
Both is happening at the same time. I don't understand if it was just the attitude, right, that he gave off during that call, or if he broke off units with no reason whatsoever. Because the way that he broke off units made it sound like he did it just cause.
Okay. In your professional opinion, do you think Sky brought him back into the office, out of a genuine concern for the police work, or do you think it was to do with Joanna personally?
I brought him in. Wasn't
Oh,
Sky.
you
I
brought
brought
him
him
in.
in the
Okay.
second time because I wanted to hear what happened from his side.
Okay, that makes more sense.
That
Okay.
wasn't Sky. I asked Sky, hey, if I call Drainer, are you good with having another chat with him about the second situation so she could hear from him on why he broke off the units, right? Because I didn't take it for granted what she said at the beginning. I wanted to hear the situation from his side as well. Because I never make these situations one side. I always hear both before I really comment.
Okay. So, but Sky brought you the concern about the stuff that happened on radio the second time.
Yeah. She told me that he was striked for that and all that. And then her concern was that his behavior was continuing along his shift. And that she had even reached out to Stubble. And I believe there was someone else, might have been McQuillan that was riding with her that also agreed. They all agreed that his behavior on radio and on shift overall was not professional. And he seemed like he had been even woken up in a bad mood or just ready to wild to use a, I guess, an expression, but like they all collectively agreed. So I believe she even reached out to other people to have that confirmation herself to see if it wasn't just her like point of view of the earlier situation. Because I mean it is true when we deal with a situation sometimes we get like biased opinion right on a further
Hmm.
situation if we already have that negative view on it. But I mean, considering she did reach out to two other people, uh, I think she did what she needed to do, and I just wanted to hear his side. And during that conversation, he was not respectful.
Yeah, yeah. He admitted to me that he was an asshole. I'll be honest. He was very open about that. Yeah. I guess from his perspective, the concerns were more about uh, whether or not, I guess, you and the people involved were subjective or objective, really.
Subjective? Wait, hold on. Why would I be subjective?
I don't know whether it's necessarily you. He just mentioned the people involved, really. And they had concerns about that, which is one of the reasons he wanted to go back to UPD.
So okay, so I have a clear understanding. How did he say that the people involved were subjective?
Listen, I'm not going to sit here and try and recall exactly what he said. The first time I heard it, he had been stabbed with metmorphine. The second time was after I'd been shot in the leg. So I'm not going to try and give anything verbatim, but it's a concern he brought up that obviously hearing that, and he wasn't just lashing out. Hearing that, obviously, it's a concern I wanted to check in with. I don't think it has any validity, especially given it seems like he's been having conversation with Brian. I don't know what Brian's been saying to get into his head. Like I said, this seems all very, I don't know. Like you said, wilding.
Yeah, I don't have the text message that Viv got from Stubble, right? But right after I told her, hey, Stubble did confirm that what Sky said, that this was like it wasn't just Sky saying it, it was more than one person. It was basically everyone that was there agreed that the way that he was talking on the radio showed he clearly wasn't happy. And the reality is, and I understand what you're saying, Richard, we're all humans, same as me. But at the end of the day, if you're letting that affect how you behave on duty, that's going to transform to the public. Because what if he is talking with a hostage, a victim, a suspect, and then he lets that pass through that?
No,
It's not
I
professional,
agree.
right?
Yeah, I completely agree. I think
That
he.
was the concern that was put, and I wasn't even on duty when this happened, so I don't know how I would be at any point subjective, right? I was asked by the undersheriff for an FTO. Erin obviously is not early shift one, so she wasn't even awake. So I was the only one that was available to come on duty to handle it. And then Sky said, Stubble agreed. I believe it was McQuillan, and I don't know if there was, he'd say there's multiple people basically everyone involved that agreed. So yeah, I'm a little bit, I guess, confused on where the subjective would be.
Yeah, I'm not exactly sure either, really. But I guess once Viv, just to check, when Viv was brought in, was it three of you in the room, and then him?
When the second time, like when I told Viv to get involved.
Yeah.
Yes. Viv said you can stay or you can leave, or do you want to? I think she asked me, do you want to stay, or do you want me to just talk with them alone? I said I can stay. I mean, I don't. No, I don't really mind. I mean, I'm making the decision of striking someone again and suspending them, so I'd like to be there to at least um, hear, right? Um, so I stayed in the room. So it was me, him, and Viv. And then what I told Viv at the end was that I did not think he fit to be a cadet in LSPD. That my decision would be to fire him from LSPD. Um, I don't think he fits as a police officer if that's how he's going to handle these issues. The reality is we deal with very high intense situations, and we're going to be dealing with people that are going to treat us below dog, um, and honestly, like pieces of shit all day. And if you cannot even fathom being corrected and striked, and you take that across your shift, then I would be concerned when you have to deal with multiple public figures just insulting you on Twitter, calling you out on things you're not even involved, putting you on the same bag as people that are corrupt. If you can't handle that, I don't think you should have a badge. And I don't think anyone that is disrespectful how he was with me, with Viv, and with Sky really fits the mindset that I was told by you and Libby for LSPD. If High Command decided to put him in UPD, that's off my hands. I did tell Viv my recommendation is a firing. And then, I mean, you guys do whatever in terms of High Command. I did ask her
Yeah.
a little bit ago if I was good with firing him already, or if I needed to wait for what High Command would say. She told me I can just go ahead and do it, and then you know, uh, they can. I guess you guys can decide.
Yeah, I think if I'm honest, and I'm gonna be blunt and honest with you, I think having Sky in the room with you guys that second time around was probably a bad idea, because I think that escalated things. I think those two clearly had a bit of a riffraff between each other earlier in the day. And I'm not blaming you at all. I think that made things worse. I think oftentimes having people talk is a good idea. But oftentimes it's I think if you would have a conversation with him first and then you got them together, I think that would have been hopefully more productive, because you probably would have been able to call him off. But I don't think he had any call off period. I think Sky calling around, I guess, to get people's opinion on how he was acting was also. I think probably should have just gone straight to a member of LSPD. What I'm trying to say is, I think what Drainer did was, yeah, he acted like an asshole. But I think I think there's a responsibility on our side of things too, that it seemed like we let it get to that point. I'll be honest, as soon as you were in that room with the two of them and things were getting heated, probably should have just sent him off duty then to call him off, and just
That's
not
what I
let.
was trying to do.
Yeah, yeah. So
But it's impossible to do that when he leaves the room, sir. And I'm sorry, but it does seem like right now, for some reason, his actions are being excused
by who?
by you, sir.
How am I excusing his actions?
We're trying to justify the fact that he was disrespectful because he was called in a room with Sky, and he was the one that disrespected her. I can understand talking with him first. I mean, I'll take that as like constructive feedback for next time, sure. But I don't think what he did at any point in time should have happened at all. And I mean, honestly, he spoke with me on the phone alone, uh, and did not respect me at all. Or anyone. He called everyone above him idiots.
Right. So, okay, so by me saying that we could have done things better is me justifying his actions?
No. That's not what I'm trying to say. What I'm trying to say, it seems like it's being how do I minimized how disrespectful he was.
Okay.
But maybe I'm wrong. Yeah, I mean, maybe I should have spoke with him alone first. I can do that in the future. I just thought that they could have an understanding together and figure out those problems.
Yeah, I think listen, the way I see it, I don't want to be having to hear about cadets and what's going on with them. So the fact that it's reached my desk is pretty concerning in the first place. And so me questioning the actions and the events that happen does not mean I'm justifying people being disrespectful. And I think honestly we're stepping over the line of that being disrespectful in the first place. Because if I trying to uphold the fact that people can be disrespectful to my officers is pretty disrespectful to say, to be honest. The way I see it is I'm going to leave things with you to do things as P&T, but like I said, this seems a bit. I'm not saying it's your fault necessarily, but this is blown up like some kind of high school drama when it should have been nipped in the bud straight away and just handled. I mean, I am dealing with the fallout from a war, and I'm hearing this come across my desk. It's just not the kind of thing I want to have to deal with, to be honest.
Wouldn't that not been on your desk if he did follow chain of command?
He asked for a transfer.
Okay. I thought I did things right, but I don't know.
I'm not saying you necessarily did things wrong. I just think things need to be done better when it comes to ensuring that if things start getting unprofessional, then that needs to be nipped in the bud. As whether you are a head of P&T or whether you're a sergeant dealing with an officer, it just doesn't need to get this far. Is basically what I'm trying to say. If you think, listen, I understand what you.
I tried to send him off duty, but he didn't respect my order.
Right. No, I get that. But then I guess you should have just left that with Viv at that point, I'll be honest. Dragging him back in a room with three people who have already had disagreements with the guy is only going to escalate the situation further. I'm going to leave the situation with you. I think you can handle it. I'm not questioning your ability as a P&T or anything like that. But, you know, at the same time, I just don't want to be. I just don't want any kind of situations. I would expect the same if this was between two officers or an officer and a sergeant. We just need to make sure that this is just isn't escalating. And I think there was issues from our side on the escalation side of things. Any questions?
Nope.
Okay. All right. Listen, like I said, I'm going to leave the decision making to you. I just don't want things to be blown up like this in the future, really.
I guess I didn't know it was that blown up. I apologize.
No, listen, again, I don't think you've done anything wrong. I just think that things could be done better. All right, thank you, Manova. Well, Drainer's getting fired by the sounds of it. This was a clusterfuck. Dog doesn't want to have to deal with this shit. Like, listen, I think regardless, this ended up on Dark's desk no matter what happened. And it shouldn't be. It seemed like it was like parking lot chat for members of the PD. Jenny was involved, and Nikki was involved, and Sky, and McQuillan, and God knows who else. And then we had Viv, Minerva, me. There's 7 people. It should have ended at 2. That's it. Like, who else? Who else knew about this? Stubble? Yeah, Stubble knew. Like, even if it was Drainer's fault, again, that's up to RP and G to nip it in the bud. Everyone's at fault, exactly. Listen, no matter what happens, RP is happening. I had conversations with both Drainer and Minerva today. Because Drainer requests a transfer back to UPD. Both sides were at fault. Minerva should have never let it get to the extent that it did. In blowing up. Right. Nice. Good RP. Alright, I see if Big Boss Man's around for more important matters. This motherfucker, dude. Where is he, man? Because at the end of the day, Doc's not gonna mistrust his P&T.
Hey, what's going on, Dark?
Hey, Trevor, you called me earlier.
Yeah. Give me I'm just finishing a situation with Carmine. As soon as I'm done, I'll give you a call back.
Okay, bye-bye.
Okay.
if Minerva is saying that he was extremely disrespectful and hasn't been on duty and doesn't deserve to be a police officer anymore, then Doc's not going to question it. The only thing Doc has questioned is that it should never have gotten to that point in the first place. I'll probably text Minerva after this phone call. I'll text her now. Hey, Trevor.
Hey, what's going on, Dark?
Hey, yeah, you called me earlier.
Yeah. I do believe that I should make atonement for the things that I've done right or wrong, excuse me. So I've decided to pick up somebody that is directly associated with the Make-A-Wish Foundation, a dying cop. I'm trying to I'm trying to make sure that before he dies, he has the best day on duty.
What?
Yeah, have you ever met this guy named Brick?
He's not dying.
Yeah, no, he is. He is. He's only got 100. Hey, Brick, how many days you got left, bud? Yeah. 141 days left to live. Diagnosis came in when he was a child, and apparently he's dying. Yes,
I don't
he's
think
got
he's dying.
No, this is good. This is what I'm working on today. So I just want to let you know.
Right. Okay. All right. Well, thanks for letting me know, Trevor.
We gotta figure out how to go zip lining later. That's one of his.
Probably a bad idea.
Hey, Brick, bucket list. That's the bucket list is zip lining, right? Yeah. Okay. We might need to go see Avatar 3 as well.
That's not out yet.
Okay. All right.
All right. Take care, Trevor.
Yep.
Bye. I don't think Minerva is. I really don't think Minerva's subjective in that situation. From what I've heard from both sides, like I think Minerva made a mistake bringing Sky and him together, especially after Sky had called around everybody to get their opinions on it and I guess get validated on the situation. I don't know. It sounds like Minerva was contacted by a member of High Command. Hello.
Are you in the captain's office, Vance?
Yeah.
Okay. All right. I just wanted to make sure someone else was there.
Wait, why?
Because Minerva asked me to come down to the captain's office.
Okay. Well, I mean, you can have that conversation with Minerva.
So do you mind if I
Well, I
use
just wanna
the
make sure
captain's
someone's
office
there.
to speak with trainer?
Nobody needs to be there, Trevor.
Somebody else needs to be there. I don't want to be in a room alone with her. I'll get suspended again.
If that happens, that happens. She's your chain of command.
Yeah, I'll try to watch my tone.
Okay, that's unnecessary. Listen, you're on your own, Trevor.
Okay.
Yes, Minerva, you're good.
Oh, sorry.
That
Yeah,
was
sorry, I didn't want to
him.
interrupt. I didn't see the phone.
Now come
Yeah,
in
what's up?
here.
Nope.
I just want no. Come here. I got it.
He made a tone joke, so go ahead and fire the fucker.
Oh, yes, sir.
If I do, I just want to know it's been a pleasure, and it's so sad that.
Yeah, he hit me with a bat about 10 minutes ago.
See you, Trev.
Yep. See ya.
Yeah, so the main thing we get paid for is photo, and then apparently we get paid per hour, but I just don't know when the hourly pay, like, I don't know when pay.
There comes a point. There comes a tipping point, doesn't there, really?
Hey, dog, how you doing?
Hey, Graves. There comes a point where it just goes too far.
What'd you do? What'd you do this time?
Yeah, Doc's pretty sick and tired of the situation already. I think this is one of those tests that I was on about. You remember? Doc tried to advocate? Yeah, exactly. Chain of command's still important. He's like, I need someone there to protect me, and no. She's like, whether listen, he doesn't like the word, but she's the boss of cadets. She is the boss of cadets. Oh, Viv's asking us about Minerva. She doesn't agree. I'm not saying Minerva did anything wrong. By everyone involved, including Sky, so that it didn't blow up to a high command level where both me and Stubble have been involved. Empower your officers, exactly. I know the last thing Doc wants is for Minerva to think that he doesn't trust her, you know? Which is not the case. Like, obviously Doc didn't necessarily like Minerva's attitude in there, questioning Doc about playing down the disrespect, which is you know, not what happened in Doc's head. How did it blow up so much? Yeah, when I said in the message to Viv just now, it wasn't just Minerva's fault. Like, I think Minerva did her best. I think Minerva's fault in that situation was putting Sky and him in a room together and expecting it to go well. Which I think is, you know, it's not a bad thing. I just think she should have got Trevor's side of things first. It just, you know, Trevor being in that room with Sky when he already disagrees with her on something, for Sky to drag it back up again, in his opinion, and then, you know, he's not exactly, he wasn't going to be thrilled about that, so it escalated. But I think, honestly, the fault, for the most part, is probably on Sky, to be honest. Because if Sky didn't go to a member of High Command about a cadet, like, you know, that wouldn't have happened. Who else can we talk to? Any DOJ? There was DOJ, right? Grayson. Let's talk to Grayson. He wanted to talk to us.
Hello, Richard.
Hi, Grayson. How are you?
Struggling.
Hey, yeah, me too. You want to meet up somewhere and have that chat?
I would love to. Where do you want me?
I'm in a car right now, so I can be anywhere.
Okay, I'm just meandering around City Hall. If you want to go drive somewhere, pick me up. I'm here.
All right, I am putting up right now.
Okay, where you at the front?
Yeah.
Okay, I'm heading down there. I'll see you in a second.
Sorry. Evening.
How are you doing, sir?
Yeah, I'm doing.
Me too. I'm actively struggling with a lot of things that are going on right now.
Yeah? What like?
Okay, okay. I texted you a few days ago, in relation to, I mean, I was fairly vague about, you know, slipping further and further from the grace of God.
Oh, yeah. Yeah, I saw that.
So it's one of these things that I don't know if anyone's highlighted to you because I've only seen it from a judicial perspective, but something that I think needs a conversation with somebody in your kind of position of power. A warrant was submitted. Let me pull this up.
It's gonna be a Brian.
It was signed on the 7th of September. It was signed by Harvey Holden and Lance Moulton. And it was a search warrant, that a subpoena for phone records for an officer, for Richard Tips. Are you aware of this at all, Doc?
Huh? No.
Yeah. Here's the thing, right? It's not like I've never seen a subpoena for police records, individuals' records. Sometimes it's a necessity. Maybe you've been kidnapped or maybe you're suspected of crimes. I mean, I know how tied in with IA you were at one point, so I know you know what I'm talking about.
Yeah.
Shit happens, right? I get that. My concern directly with this, and while it has nothing at all, well, vague attachments to the war, right? Here's my issue. It's police overreach of like the highest caliber. There is no alleged crime unless we're alleging that talking to people is treason. There is no crime here at all.
What was the PC saying?
Okay, let me read this to you.
Was it accepted or denied?
It was denied. It was denied because I'll be honest, Serge denied it, but I kicked up a fuss about this when it happened because I was not happy with this at all. The very fact this was put in. Okay, Richard Tips was speaking with Flops Raymond and Bolingbroke and was pulled out and spoken to it on the MRPD roof about entering the prison to speak with inmates. He was advised to read announcements from High Command and his job was not threatened during this talk. Shortly after, 2 DOC guards were approached by Flop's Rainman, who said he got off the phone with Richard Tips, furious that Tips had had his job threatened. It is against the public interest to have an officer/deputy actively relaying things to sanguine inmates in Bolingbroke. The UPD is requesting 5 hours of phone records, blah, 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 right?
One second, Grace. Let me answer this.
Yeah.
Sorry, I want to get this out of the way. Trevor?
Okay, you couldn't be there for that?
You're a cadet, Trevor. Listen, as much as I like you, Trevor, you're a cadet.
Okay.
So I meant there's no disrespect, but at the end of the day, it's not my job to deal with cadets. It's Minerva's job.
Okay. All right.
What happened?
Nothing.
Okay.
Nothing. Well, I'm fired, so. But I appreciate the opportunity, and I'll just leave it at that.
Listen, Trevor, I think you're a very good police officer. I don't agree with everything
I got to clock off duty. I'm keeping an LSPD hat.
Sure. Don't wear it around in public, please.
Yeah, I won't.
Listen, I think you're a very good police officer. I don't think you were put in a very fair position. But nonetheless, by your own volition, you were an asshole. Cadets don't get a lot of free reign. And I think
I don't know. See, that's the thing. I don't know if I necessarily believe that, because I witness cadets not even do their job, but you have somebody that does their job is an asshole. Okay. I mean, this just goes to solidify what I was saying. Listen, Dark. I appreciate the kind words, but I think we should just leave it as it is.
Okay.
Okay, I'll talk to you later.
Yeah, talk to you later. Sorry about that.
You're fine. I understand you're a busy man.
No, it's not the kind of busy that I've been dealing with for the past week. This was some it's kindergarten playground type stuff that I don't really want to be dealing with. But hopefully the problem's squished.
Oh. I'll TLDR. I'll just TLDR. I read the statement. Basically, the issue is we've got officers, senior fucking officers, people who have been around the block a bit. Lance Moulton signed this, right? Requesting the phone records of other officers because they broke fucking internal like red tape in PD, rather than the fact that they actually committed a crime, which is why we infringe the rights of our citizens to provide their records. We infringe their rights, we curtail their rights to go digging through their fucking phone records and provide those to look for evidence of crimes, not because they broke like an internal rule. And it's just endemic of this governmental overreach going on at the moment, Richard. This fucking, you know, Big Brother-esque, we are watching you, we're investigating you for fucking tweeting bad things, we're investigating you for talking to the wrong people in prison. Like, you're not allowed to have friends anymore, dude.
So Flop is in prison for treason? Is that right, or?
I don't know why Mr. Rainman's in jail, but it's alleged here that, you know, he's there for a reason, right? Or he's a member of the Sang. Even if he is, are those people now not allowed visitors?
Yeah, I think yeah, you're not wrong. I don't know how Mountain would have signed off on that, to be honest. As a, like you said,
crime. It's a total misunderstanding of what probable cause is.
Say again, what did they, like, what crime did they, like, try to...
They didn't. So here's your issue. They didn't allege a crime. There was no specific crime mentioned, but the only crime that I can see, right? So to determine if there is an active leak within the UPD, right? So that's what they're alleging. They're alleging there's a leak. But to allege there's a leak is to allege that Richard Tips is a traitor. because he's leaking too treasonous, right? That's the inference. That's the only crime attached to this. And if, like, literally, if they're not claiming he's a traitor, and I don't think they are, they just want to dig through his fucking shit to see if he broke an internal PD rule. Scary Big Brother stuff, Richard.
Yeah, you're not wrong. Just okay. This is a clarifying question that's half personal curiosity and half to do with this. But the sedition legislation claims that while the conflict is in place, that the sedition charge is active. So, given that the conflict's no longer active, does that mean no one can be charged with sedition?
I mean, if there's no, I mean, it depends how the. Have you heard anybody say the conflict has ended? Have you heard a public statement? Who knows? This is the problem with all this stuff, Richard. It all went in very quick, very haphazard. It would all, any of these rulings are going to require somebody to step in and justify them after the fact, instead of it all being obvious up front, right? And the problem is the people who would justify that are the people who've already justified every action so far. You know.
Yeah, you're not wrong. Well, I mean,
I don't know, dude. Like, it scares me.
I just, yeah, it is concerning. I think it's a trickle down effect from Axel and Brian and the senator. To be honest,
I agree.
It's this this sense of righteousness and I guess power that the PD has been given when it comes to the sanguine stuff, and essentially from all the actions thus far. From the no due process and then the senator shooting a prisoner with no consequence as of yet, essentially saying to the PD that Sanguine have no rights and anybody that has anything to do with any member of Sanguine is to be treated the same way they are. And that's trickled down to, I guess, a command level. Unfortunately, Melton is one of mine, but maybe that is fortunate because I can deal with it.
Yeah.
Obviously, the problem hopefully is dissipating, given that Axel is, well, no longer with us, and neither is Brian in a different sense.
His comments in LSBN were interesting.
Yeah, none of it was. I don't know what I was reading, to be honest. It was like some kind of. You know these people that fight invisible battles in their head? That's what it seemed like. It was just written down on paper, to be honest.
Feels like, yeah, it feels like every comment that's being made publicly at the moment from some people is political. And, like, strongly political. Like, Moulton's speech at Bobby's funeral.
That was disgusting, I'll be honest.
I did not like that at all. I wasn't even planning on saying anything. But after that, I was like, I need to turn this back into a Mr. Boulderman funeral.
Yeah, like it's one of those where it's hard to decide. Like, I didn't want to overstep and say, you know, and kind of infringe on a funeral and make things awkward or anything. And like, are people there as police officers or are they there as citizens? And whether or not try to tell them to stop is, you know, I don't know. I didn't want to overstep, given it was an SGSO funeral as well. So, yeah, I kind of left it to them to do anything, and they didn't. But it was half and half as to whether or not that funeral was genuine or political, to be honest. Because on one half, if it was coming from somebody else, then it's like, listen, you know, their lives weren't in vain. I know that doesn't mean much, but at least they died fighting for something they believed in, which is hard to argue anyway. But the way he said it was just very, hey guys, what we did was right, and these people died for a good cause. And that just didn't sit right with me.
Didn't sit right with me, Richard. I feel like there's a time and a place.
Yeah.
So yeah, I think we're on the same page here. My issue is, I feel like we're just curtailing rights left, right, and center, right? We're accepting the state knows best. We're Big Brother. We'll watch out for you. We know how to do this. You all sit back. You don't need your rights. Don't worry about it. We got you. And it's terrifying. I don't think this is what I when I was first elected as a judge, when I was first appointed as a judge years ago, like it was at the will of the people, and I don't think anyone's talking about what the people want anymore. Now we're looking up and we're looking up at like, hey, what does the Chief Justice want? Or what does the Senator want? Or what does the Commissioner want? And all authority derives from those three positions. And outside of those three positions, nobody's getting any say.
Yeah, you're not wrong. I mean, even the rank and file of PD haven't had a say in anything for years. When it comes to like votes and stuff like that, when's the last time there was a like? I mean, ever since I ran for sheriff against Pred and Jenny and Wrangler, even that vote, what, 3 or 4 years ago now, even that was a sham, and that was
that the one Jenny won and they ignored?
Yes.
Yeah.
So this has been going on for a long time, and I think the city is probably the city, and a lot of us have hit their breaking point when it comes to sitting idle on this kind of thing.
You keep telling people, I don't know how many people are listening, that power is an illusion, right? People only have the power we give them. Like, and regardless of anything, like, they're all just singular individuals claiming power that we buy into. And the second we stop buying into it, and somebody's like, actually, no. Like, okay, you talked about the Pred being shot at Bolingbrook incident. Have you seen there's a court case up on that?
No, I haven't actually, no. Who's
It's
it?
there.
Who's the defendant?
I mean, it's a civil case. They've named the senator, Sean Davis. They've named the estate of Axel Justice.
Oh,
and
yeah,
they have named, and they've named the Department of Corrections as a whole for their duty of care, right? Now, I think it was Harvey Holden entered as a defense in motion to basically have the Department of Correction removed, purely because on the argumentation that I think it went something along the lines of, we have no duty of care, and we can't step in with the Senate because the Senate's all powerful. It's useless. The reality is, you remove everything. You remove the labels. There was one man with a gun who shot another man, and the people who should have protected that man, all armed with weapons, stood by idly and did nothing.
Yeah.
There's one man with a gun, and nobody stepped in and stopped it happening.
It's between me and you, but I asked the commissioner, who was there directly, why didn't you shoot the senator or stop the senator from doing that? The answer, in a roundabout way, was fear. And when that's coming
terrifying.
When that's coming from the commissioner, it's terrifying. Yeah.
But look, he's not just the commissioner of PD. He's the commissioner of the Department of Corrections too. Mr. Justice was actively had a duty of care to every inmate there as the commissioner of the Department of Corrections. Like, everybody there is there, like, at his will and with his protection, right? Like he's meant to keep them safe, and he's scared of one dude with a gun to the point where he won't engage.
Big sussy in this pussy. Yeah, it's
terrifying, Richard.
I mean, it's kind of revealed the root of a lot of problems, I think, and I think that root's the Senate. I think that root is having people in ultimate power who, you know, for all we know, has Davis ever actually been a citizen of Los Santos? Or is he, you know, just like the commissioner was, and he's from out of state, some politician who's got a rich family? Like, those kind of people shouldn't have a say in the matters of San Andreas.
You want to talk about nepotism, Richard? We have a judge, an appointed judge, protected a position, does not need to be elected. Adelaide Hart. She's a lovely girl. She's great. She's also not bad at a job. You know why she got a job? Senator Davis's niece.
You're joking me.
She told me flat out. She told me she got her job out of nepotism. This is what we are. This is what this is now.
Wow. That's yeah. That's honestly not surprising at this point.
It's been a slippery slope, and it's been 3 years, you know, the election manhandling inside the PD, then, you know, the Warren Sandy Shores a couple of years ago. Like, it's been a slippery slope, and this has all happened step by step. Slowly, it's been a slow degradation of our rights and our liberties. And now we're at the point where, here's the thing, right? They just sent 50 something people to Bolingbroke without trial, without due process, and mandatorily decided they were getting 30 years. What happens next time, Richard, if they escalate? What happens next time if it isn't Bolingbroke? What happens if it's a wall and a firing squad?
Yeah, that's the concern, really. It's not a typical and easy situation to manage. And I think it's going to take a hell of a lot of unity between different high-ranking and important members of the city if we're going to get anything done.
I was talking to some judges, and one of them was like, hey, I'll write the Declaration of Independence and let's go. I'm like, this is the issue though, right? It's people in power seizing power. That's a problem. What we need, and this is what I relate to those people, and what I'll relate to you too, is we need a mandate from the people. We need to know what the people want, and to actually, if you're going to put power back in the hands of the people, go back to democracy. Step aside from this despotism and this tyranny that we're living under right now. The only way to do that is with a mandate to go to the people and say, hey, like, you guys should be in charge. We bow to the will of the people. What is the will of the people, right? Whatever happens, if we can restructure society in a way that is more just, that is more democratic, either way, it's got to go back to voting. And I think that's what we're missing now. I think what we're missing now is we're missing the voice of the people.
I completely agree. One thing I consider is essentially a vote of no confidence when it comes to the Senate. And you know how we've had those kind of town hall law votes that we've had before, and just have one of those and you know, pose it as you know, do you think there should be a restructure in our government away from a Senate and more towards a democracy, and you know, the people can vote no matter who you are? I think it would have to be posed as a better question than that, but you know,
I think that's the point, right? That's the whole point. You put the will of the people behind the will of the people. And like, here's the reality: if the people are happy with the status quo, if they're happy with this, and this is what they want, good for them. I might, however, go back to England.
Yeah,
because I don't want to live under tyranny.
Yeah, me neither. And God knows what's going to happen if that vote goes up and what do the Senate decide to do?
Yeah, I mean, so traditionally, Richard, I don't know if you know this, the elections were always the purview of the judiciary, right? We put them up, we oversaw.
Yeah.
Hey, Cobbs, how's it going?
Yeah, mate. You're not too bad. How are you?
Wait, who is that?
Who is that?
I forgot your name.
I forgot your name.
Oh, my name is Matthew Antov. Nice to meet you.
Hello, Mr. Anto. I haven't seen you in a while.
Yeah, you know, I hate puberty in it.
You hate puberty? Yeah.
Yeah, you know, my voice drops.
Oh, puberty.
Yeah.
Oh, I see. Well, listen, one recommendation I have for puberty, you know, they say to give some advice. The first one I would give is don't steal cars. I think that would be some pretty good advice for anybody who'd recently gone through puberty.
You seen this guy?
Yeah, I can't believe you kind us both off, man.
That's crazy.
Disgusting. Well, nice to see you, Mr. Antov.
Yeah, have a good one.
That's very suspicious.
Man also looks 40, and he's just going through puberty.
I didn't know which one was speaking. Was Antov the one in the pink mask?
It's the one in the back. No, it's the one in the back.
Oh, I see. Okay.
With the blue cap.